Hi, I'm Bob Jones. The key to growing healthy vegetables is to start with fertile organic soil. We find an easy way to do that is using a technique called no-dig gardening. Mike Rushton and I have been doing gardening workshops teaching this technique for the past year in Nelson, New Zealand.
It actually becomes a long-term sort of slow composting.
There are many good reasons why we should grow our own food. First, safety. If you grow your own food in your own soil, that soil should be free of any toxins like herbicides and pesticides. Second, taste and nutrition. Food that's picked fresh definitely has better taste and higher nutritional value, and there's nothing that's fresher than something that's picked and eaten out of your own backyard. A third reason is you're going to have less expense. If you have less shopping and go to the store less, you're going to spend less on food and petrol or gas.
Hey, we're here at the garden of Jenny Trow. This no-dig garden was put in place just 6 weeks ago, and she's already eating produce from this garden. No-dig gardening is a very simple method of laying down layers of organic material, carbon material, nitrogen material on top of existing ground. It can be lawn, it can be weeds, using the techniques that you'll see in the following video. It's very easy to build. The materials are very, very cheap and easily available. It retains an awful lot of moisture and has all the nutrients which plants need to be able to grow healthily.
So now I'm going to turn this over to Mike, who will demonstrate how this no-dig technique works.
We've got a bed laid out here, appropriate size to be able to reach across. Length doesn't really matter. It's orientated east-west to get full maximum use of the sun, and we have just forked over just to break the very basis of the pan that we're starting with. We're going to be putting over a cardboard mat, then we're going to be putting on various layers of carbon material, browns and straw and topsoil and things like that. So let's get to it, it won't take long. When we're layering the cardboard down, it's important to have all of the sellotape or tape stripped off it and take out any staples or anything like that. The cardboard needs to be thoroughly soaked before it's laid down, and when it is laid down, it's laid down overlapping itself, and we need several layers. This is so that the weeds underneath don't regrow and penetrate through. Sometimes when you take cardboard boxes, they'll be too big to manage, so they can be cut up into anything from sort of like 700 down, so manageable sizes. It's important to wet the cardboard before you do put it down on the ground. It would be beneficial to wet the ground as well. We want this to all be moist. If you try wetting the cardboard when you've got it down in place, because we've overlapped it, it will just run off like water off a roof or something like that. So it is important. Okay, basically this is the first layer. We've got a brown layer on the bottom, so this is a bit of a nitrogenous layer. It's green, it's just weed clippings, and we want to spread this layer out, covering the cardboard completely to a depth of anything between 5 and 10 centimetres. And we want to try and make sure it's level and that there's no sort of lumps that can go aerobic or compost on us. Bob here is actually sort of like continually watering this. Again, this is to make sure that the whole of the no-dig bed stays a bit like a moist sponge. You don't really want any dry bits in there. We can put anything into a no-dig garden. This is just basic food scraps from the Braemar Eco Village kitchen. We really want to make sure that they're in the centre of the bed. We don't want to attract rodents or have things burrowing into the bed to get to these. So we just lay these down, spread them out in the centre of the bed. We've also got a small bucket full of worms just to start off the process of getting the worms to infest our bed. They've all burrowed to the bottom of the container because they've been out in the sun for a few hours. Worms will migrate into the bed, but if you have got any that you can start that process off with, it gives you a flying start. So this is just basically a layer of topsoil, Bob's spreading over here. We want to make sure that each layer that we put on covers the previous layer.
You want me to do that?
I don't mind.
Wow, look at that technique. This is a speed crew.
Sandra is now watering the soil layer that we've actually put down. You'll notice we've covered the whole of the previous layer. The next layer we're going to put on is a layer of hay. It's got quite a few weed seeds in it, so we're putting it in towards the bottom so that those weed seeds don't come straight up through. It'll need to be fluffed up nice and light, so it'll look quite high once we put this layer on. And this is it. Yep. Down.
There's another bag there.
Oh, there is the bag. And we're just watering this down again just to make sure it's all nice and damp. So we've now got our layer of hay down, it's been nicely moistened. Now we're going to put a layer of green grass clippings over the top. This is from the same paddock, so you can see the differences between the types of materials you can get from the one source.
Oh, the crickets are lovely because it's autumn.
We've now put a green layer of grass clippings on there. We don't want this layer to be too thick. If we put it on too thick, it'll start to compost itself, it'll get hot, or it'll get anaerobic and start to smell. Either way, it won't be good for the plants. We're now going to put a layer of sort of like topsoil compost mix on top of this.
Back.
We can add anything to our no-dig garden. I've got here some crushed river rock, which is interesting stuff. Basically the basis of all soil is the weathering of rock, so if we can actually add in rock dust to start with, that'll give us another helping hand. This could be dust from gravel, anything. Ground up gypsum, old cement powder, whatever you like, just don't add too much of it. It's important that we try and keep the bed when we're building it, keep the sides as vertical as possible. We want the rain that falls on the bed to stay on the bed, not to actually just run straight off. So we were looking for more of a chocolate bar shape rather than a pyramid. Clay soils can be very hard to work with, but they're very, very rich in minerals and nutrients. We can add those to our no-dig garden in the same way as we did the river rock as well. We've just finished adding another layer of compost and soil. We've augmented it with river rock dust and we've put some clay on there, which is all mineral rich. Now we're going to go for another layer of dried organic material. This is just grass clippings which have been allowed to dry out in the sun for a while. Yeah, it's just combusted itself.
So shall I start to order that?
Yes, please.
Looking good, Mike.
As I've said before, you can add anything to your no-dig garden. These are just dried leaves that we've collected from around Braemar Eco Village. Cool. Give anything we've missed. So we're now just about ready to put our final top layer of soil and compost on top of this, and then we'll just top it off with straw.
We could call it Legends of the Fall. Open.
Fingers.
Nice angle. Okay, we've just put our final layer of compost on and we're just about to put a final layer of straw on the top, and then we'll be planting directly into this bed. I think it's important to mention that we've used the materials we've got available, so we did have compost available. But you can use anything to create these layers, providing you use brown layers, leaves, green layers, things like grass clippings and things like that.
All we've got, so we're going to have to make it go.
hold it by the soil.
We're pretty much done. All that is left now is to actually start planting in our bed. That's it, we're done. Myself, Sandra, Bob and Lynn have created this probably in about 30 minutes. We had all the materials available, we marked out our spot, we put down soaked cardboard as weed mat, we put alternating layers of green and brown material, and then we finally topped off with the straw and we planted directly in it. This was a bed to plant directly into. If we were doing a bed that was created in autumn for use in spring next year, then we would have added a lot more green material and made it a lot bigger, so it was almost like a compost heap. But this is it, 30 minutes and you've got your garden.
If you want to offer workshops in your area, we have provided a whole packet of information on our website for any of those of you who are interested. We're really hoping that you will use this technique and go out into your backyards and experiment with this concept and spread the word, pass it on to others. We think this can provide a huge good for yourself and the world. Thank you and happy gardening.
Thank you.